Greetings and bienvenue, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Jeremy Wormy, and I'm back with yet again another Doctor Who review. This week we are talking about Wish World, the penultimate episode before the season finale of Doctor Who, and the potential series finale as well.
I am shocked. Shocked! Well, not that shocked.
Especially with all the ongoing rumors abound that Ncuti Gat was stepping down, RTD's walking away, and there's no actual commitment from the BBC to do a season 3 yet or not. We still got these 2 episodes left to go through. And to be honest, guys, I'm here for it because this was one of the most dumbest episodes of my life. Again, dealing with primordial beings, a world made of wishes and where everybody is happily married and very heteronormative. But if you're gay or disabled or any of the protected classes nowadays, you're a bad person that gets ignored. I'm not even making that one up. But hey, enough of me talking about it right now. Why don't we actually hop into the episode to tell you just what happened? Because we start off with Ronnie riding through a bunch of forests in Germany to get to a house where a kid is being born. Now, this kid is the 7th son of a 7th son of the 7th son. Baby is just born. Ronnie is excited to have said baby, and it ends up being revealed that through the power of the baby, the Ronnie can do all sorts of crazy stuff, turning the mom into lilacs, turning the 6 other sons into ducks, and then turning said father into an owl.
That's stupid. You're stupid. Stop being stupid.
Already you know that there's something crazy going on here with this particular kid and the Ronnie, but you don't know what's actually happening. I'll spoil it for you. This 7th son of the 7th son of the 7th son is actually the god of wishes. That's right, so they're gonna use the power of the wish god in order to do other crazy things. Oh, we'll get into what those other crazy things are because my god, it just gets dumber from here. Because then we cut over to more of the present day, air quotes around present day, to reveal the Doctor waking up in a bed right beside Belinda. And as they kiss and start talking and having a grand old time, we end up getting the reveal of their, air quotes, daughter, Poppy. That's right, this is the exact same Poppy from Space Babies, who was the captain of the ship, and is also the random black little girl that was running around throughout Africa when they went over to the storyteller. Oh, guys, it's already off to a great start. Because then they turn on a TV and we get the reveal that Conrad is here. You guys remember Conrad, right? The guy that ended up dating Ruby for a little while and ultimately ended up getting arrested because he didn't like UNIT, tried to get UNIT docs. It was a stand-in for misinformation and individuals questioning thy leadership and thy government. And then at the very end of that episode, the Ronnie, then Mrs. Flood, freed him from prison. Yeah, that's what we're going with here. And this is the world we live in now, where Conrad has wished this world into reality. I know I'm getting ahead of myself here, but yes, that's what we're dealing with. The Ronnie has teamed up with Conrad and used the wish god in order to wish the reality we live in right now. I'm not even making that up. That's what happened in the episode. But there's so much more that's just nonsense and pointlessness, because after the credits, we end up seeing that Conrad is going to be reading a book titled Doctor Who and the Deadly Wish. And as you can see on the little cover, you got the TARDIS, you got Ncuti Gat, and you got a Vindicator right behind them. Because guess what? The Vindicator's changed now all of a sudden, ladies and gentlemen. It gets so much worse. You end up seeing Belinda and the Doctor with Poppy at a kitchen table talking about May the 24th and May Day and all the great stuff that they're about to go do. Belinda asks Poppy whether or not she wants to eat this big dish called balandi, which I don't even know what the heck that is. And after Poppy says no, a coffee cup that was placed at the center of the table falls to the ground and breaks. Now that's important because, again, I'm gonna spoil it. Every single time somebody expresses doubt, a coffee cup falls through a table and breaks.
Why?
Doubt about the world equals broken cup. Why? I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it. Okay? I don't get why you express doubt and then the coffee cup falls through the table to break. I guess to make you stop expressing doubt. But at the same time, at the very end, we get a reveal that no, they want us to express doubt. And yes, I'm jumping forward through all this because I can't comprehend what the heck they're trying to do here. Anyways, we continue on with the episode, then a knock at the door, and it's Ruby coming to see the Doctor. Now, Ruby doesn't understand that the Doctor is the Doctor. The Doctor's now going by John Smith, but nonetheless, she knows that he's the Doctor doctor for some odd reason and is just trying to figure out what the heck's going on. Shortly thereafter, as the doubt is being expressed now by Ruby, Belinda starts calling the doubt police to report somebody is doubtful, and then Ruby scurries off, and we end up seeing Mel in the street, who's now going by Melanie, and the doctor warns Melanie not to talk to Ruby because they're expressing doubt. At the same time, we end up seeing Melanie with the dustpan throwing something out into the trash, and it's just filled with cups. All the doubt. This is just so stupid. Following that, Melanie and the doctor keep talking, try to figure out what the heck that little random girl is, but they start saying this is such a beautiful world, a wonderful world. And then we see a giant skeletal dog monster walking around, and they continue saying that this is a beautiful world. We see the doctor going to work with a bunch of people. He's now working at Unit, but Unit is not Unit. It's an insurance company. We end up seeing that Kate is now the manager of him over at this insurance company that's not Unit, but is Unit, but it's not Unit. Or we end up seeing, you know, big buff, handsome dude who's into Kate, and he starts looking at Kate, and then Shurigatwa ends up telling him that, hey, you know, she likes Chinese food. You should ask him out. Dude's all like, no, I shouldn't do that. I'm not gonna get it. And then Shuri tells handsome buff Unit soldier dude that he's a beautiful man.
That's pretty gay.
Now, I'm focusing in on that for one very specific reason, because following the statement, said dude starts freaking out and saying, no, men aren't supposed to like other men. That's bad. Men can't call other men beautiful men. So this whole new world is homophobic as well. Oh, guys, it keeps doubling down because it's not just homophobic, it's ableist. Because I forgot to mention this, prior to Shurigatwa entering into the actual Unit facilities now, you end up seeing Cripple Lady, who worked for Unit, is outside begging for money. And I'm gonna jump ahead a little bit on this one because it's later revealed that cripple people can kind of see through the wishing world, but that's because they're undesirables. They are practically invisible to everybody else, and they know something's off.
I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
We have the crippled Avengers coming to save the day. We end up cutting back over to Shurigatwa and Belinda's house, where Belinda's mother and auntie show up to have a nice little conversation with them, and they end up talking about the birthing process and actual labor. When asked how long did it take for Belinda to give birth to Poppy here, Belinda doesn't have an answer, and as stuff starts breaking again because doubts are being given all over throughout the place, Belinda ends up running out of the house, running into the woods, and screaming because she knows something's up. We cut on back over to the insurance agency where everybody's freaking out because they get to see the Ronnie now flying around the entire space, and the doctor starts expressing even more doubt, wondering who the heck she is, and everybody's starting to wonder what the heck he means by who the heck she is. We end up seeing the Ronnie touch down in her beautiful castle filled with all sorts of crazy stuff, and also the sign of Rassilon. And we end up seeing that she is now giving old Ronnie some meat to make a sandwich for Conrad. We end up cutting over to Conrad, who's now just exhausted because he has to constantly keep this wish going. He has to constantly keep this world going, utilizing said baby. And we end up getting the reveal here that said baby is a primordial being. Yeah, because it laughs. We also end up seeing new Ronnie put the Vindicator on a giant clock system. Don't know what's going on there quite yet, but we get the reveal later that it's supposed to be utilizing all the readings that the doctor has gathered throughout all of time in order to help try to break down reality. Shortly thereafter, old Ronnie and new Ronnie end up going out to a balcony and talking a little bit, and they express how new Ronnie potentially is the child of old Ronnie because new Ronnie was birthed from old Ronnie's loins. You know, that whole joke that Shurigatwa doctor was birthed from David Tennant, new doctor, from his loins. So that whole joke gone there. New Ronnie ends up saying that that's gross, but all while she's doing this, she's using her own sonic device to have these weird little ball things pop out from this balcony system that later is revealed that they're bombs. I'm just gonna break it down now. They're bombs. Shortly thereafter, we end up seeing that Ruby and Cripple Lady watch one of the giant bone dogs take a step down on a bunch of people, but phases through them because they're not quite honestly there. That's when Ruby and Cripple Lady end up realizing that they know each other, but they don't quite understand how they know each other, and they're getting bled through the reality of whatever. And then Ruby goes on with Cripple Lady to their own little cripple encampment where all the undesirables go. That's right, that's cripple people and gay people all live within this encampment. We then get the Council of Cripples, as I'm going to lovingly call them because this is so idiotic, essentially establishing that they're invisible because they are crippled. They are undesirable individuals. And here, they are coming down with how they're gonna try to team up, create the Cripple Avengers to try to save the day. Because they're getting aspects of what the old world used to be. They're the undesirables. Nobody sees them, but at the same time, they get certain bleeding throughout the old world, so they know something's off and blah-de-blah-de-blah. We also end up finding out that Ruby was essentially kicked out by her adopted mom and adopted grandma because she was expressing doubt, and doubt's bad. How she was expressing doubt, I don't quite understand. She just knew that this reality was off, and she knew something about the doctor. Don't fully understand how she knew that. They don't actually explain that well, but okay, we're gonna keep moving on. You end up getting Ruby saying that she wants to go see Conrad because she doesn't trust Conrad because of the whole incident that she went down with him. We end up cutting back over to Gatwa sitting on a table watching TV late at night, and as he's just sitting there drinking some whiskey, the TV ends up flickering and we get the reveal of the gay guy from last season that loves Doctor, our little bounty hunter friend here, Rogue, I believe was his name. I don't even remember. The guy that loves Shooty, that kissed Shooty, all that stuff from the whole cosplay episode. He is responding to Gatwa via a TV telling Shooty that tables don't work this way. This hellish dimension is about to fall apart and you need to go see reality, and tables don't work that way shortly before he tries to say, I love you. This is starting to become very similar to Turn Left and The Stolen Earth, where all sorts of people from the Doctor's past are trying to contact him to tell him that something's up. You get the picture here? Yeah, it's becoming very similar to all of that. So following Rogue basically telling the Doctor that something's up, he ends up looking at a bunch of cups on a table and cups start breaking. Belinda hears cups breaking, comes down and sees the Doctor doing this and shows off that through doubt, the cups are phasing through the table to break. Following this, Belinda freaks out, calls the Doubt Police. Said Doubt Police come by to arrest the Doctor, and then old Ronnie shows up to arrest Belinda because she understands that Belinda also is expressing doubt because that's the only way she could have known that the Doctor was expressing doubt. We end up cutting back on over to the Cripples going outside of what was Unit. Cripple Unit Lady, she shows off that she has a tablet from the old Unit days and can actually read and decipher what's going on within the palace because the palace is a part of old Unit. Here's my problem with all of this. How the heck does she still have a tablet from the old Unit world? I get that their wheelchairs bled over and stuff like that, but wouldn't you have been able to stop that? Wouldn't this wishing power been able to prevent any of that coming over? These people are already invisible, but how the heck do you still have a tablet from the old world that allows you to have that much power and access into the castle? That's a coincidence that even I can't wrap my head around. Well, we end up cutting back on over to Gatwa and Belinda, who are now being taken away by the security drones from the previous episode to now speak to the Ronnie. And they go through this weird force field bubble, and we end up getting them into the Ronnie's chambers, where the Ronnie is so glad to see the Doctor and is just so darn happy for him to see what is actually going on here. It's the big exposition dump time. The Ronnie starts dancing around the Doctor. The Doctor gets the reveal that she's the Ronnie, and also Mrs. Flood is the Ronnie. And then the Doctor starts freaking out because all the memories are coming back to him. He's starting to realize that he's not John Smith, he's the Doctor. And that's when the Ronnie reveals what her ultimate plan was. Reveals that the seventh son is actually the wish god, the strongest of all of them. And because the Doctor brought in all the gods, this is all happening right now. Shortly thereafter, it's revealed that wishing this entire world isn't feasible. So what the Ronnie did was actually utilize the Vindicator to try to amplify the wishing power and be be able to meld it to Conrad's own belief structures so that Conrad could make this world. In reality, you can't make these perfect worlds. Doubts will always exist. And that was what the Ronnie wanted the whole time, was doubts. Doesn't matter what the show's been showing you, and that doubts are evil, bad, blah, 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 blah. No, actually, Ronnie wanted people to doubt everything that's going on here, because the more that you doubt, the more that you're actually going to destroy this world. And she's now going to weaponize said doubts along with the Vindicator that the Doctor was using all throughout time and space to utilize a special network that the Doctor developed to break reality, because she's actually hunting for somebody, but not just anybody. She's hunting for Omega.
Dude, I don't get it. I don't get it either.
The Ronnie takes the Doctor to the balcony, shows him that all of London is now falling away throughout reality. Reality's breaking because of the Doctor's Vindicator powers, because of the wish, because of the doubt and all that stuff. And then she locks the Doctor out on that balcony, blowing up the bombs that she set earlier, sending Doctor careening throughout reality. Belinda gets disappeared. All sorts of other crazy stuff's happening because reality's now breaking. And then the Doctor says, but Poppy's not fake, Poppy's real. And we're starting to see that Poppy's actually super important as the to be continued sign shows up. I gotta be real honest with you guys. It's been a long time since I've had to talk about Omega. I don't remember a whole lot of Omega. I'm gonna have to go back through Doctor Who lore and research who Omega was again. I know that he's the first of the Time Lords and he's a super strong Time Lord, but because of the Timeless Children, I don't know how that's all gonna work out anymore. Furthermore, we're already establishing that Poppy's super freaking important to this whole nonsense right now. On top of that, you have an entire world at force Conrad to create. You punish people for doubting because doubts are bad, but at the same time you want to say that doubts are good because through doubts you can break all of reality. And it's just getting stupider and stupider because we're dealing with primordial beings again, but we're not dealing with primordial beings. But because the Doctor did the whole salt thing back in the 60th anniversary episode, bringing the primordial beings into reality, we're here. We're dealing with this nonsense. We're dealing with these insane psychopaths doing this stuff over and over and over again, and I'm just done with it. I'm excited for next week's episode, mainly because I want to see just how dumb this stuff gets. I want to see how stupid and idiotic it becomes inevitably, because that's all we're getting now. You wonder why people are thinking this whole show's done for? Is because nobody wants to watch it anymore. Everybody's fed up with this slop that we keep getting from these freaks at this point in time. And even when you take a look at what the overnight numbers actually were this week, yeah, last week was up because of the FA Cup and Eurovision. This week it's down again. We are now at 1.85 million viewers for the overnight ratings. People have checked out, people have walked away, and that's because this whole show is pure garbage, that nothing makes sense anymore, and they don't care to make anything make sense. Heck, even when the whole Ronnie was going through her whole plan and the exposition dumping everything, she even specified that this isn't just normal exposition. She wants to tell the Doctor everything because his doubt is the strongest doubts that will break reality.
So many retards. And you know what's the worst thing? That they're confident retards.
You see the problem with all this. You see what's going on here. You see the slop tier writing, and you wonder why people think it's finally over with. But hey, that's just my take on all that, and that's my review for this one. But let me get you guys' thoughts on this episode and what's all going on right now down in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Shout out friends, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell for every time I put out a video and go live, guys. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.